Our top story. India's Silicon City continues to remain unsafe for women as yet another brazen attack on a woman has come to the fore. Mirror Now has accessed exclusive footage of a heinous crime where a 25-year-old woman was stabbed to death outside her office in Bengaluru. Now, the attacker was none other than her boyfriend, who attacked her in rage. This after the girl's family disapproved of their marriage, citing caste differences. The woman, identified as Leela Pavitra, was in a relationship with the attacker, Dinakar Bavaka, for the last 5 years. Meanwhile, police sources have said that the accused was pursuing the woman continuously after his advances were turned down by the victim. Now, Pavitra multiple times. The young woman had even blocked him on WhatsApp, but the accused, Dinakar, continued to call her from unknown numbers and harassed her. This doesn't end here. According to the cops, the spurned lover had issued death threats to the victim in the past as well. But little did the woman know that she will be killed by the lover for rejecting him. Now, let me tell you, the attacker was soon apprehended by the Bengaluru cops after the incident. However, this incident from the IT capital has once again brought the focus on women's safety, especially at workplaces, as the attacker is said to have entered the woman's office with 2 knives in his bag, waited for her to come out so that he could attack her. Meanwhile, the family of the victim has demanded a thorough probe in the case and has called out the lapses in the law and order of the state. Let me tell you, the incident comes on the close heels of attacks on women in Bengaluru, which ranks just behind Delhi and Mumbai in the list of the most unsafe cities in the country.
Incident has happened yesterday evening, and whereas the accused has directly entered inside the office to bring the victim outside, whereas what happened with the security, sir, in this company?
We are still investigating as to whether this person went inside and brought her out or she came on her own. So that is subject to our investigation. We are verifying that.
So these both accused and victim, did they have any kind of love affair, sir?
Seems to be, but again, that has nothing to do with the incident that has happened.
So now, what kind of further investigation is going on, and under which sessions the case has been filed, sir?
Obviously, Section 302 and read with 34 IPC.
What exactly happened last evening? What is the police telling you?
I don't know the complete details yet. But actually yesterday night 6:30 my sister called me that her name is Pavitra, we call her Happy. So Happy has met with an accident, and my brother-in-law was not there. He went to his regular work and he was not reachable. So she called me, and when I inquired with the local person who has called from the office, that they said that the issue is like somebody stabbed. And we don't know, they might be in a relationship with the person, but or not. We don't know any details, but stabbed. So when we came, then I called her, and then I started from Hyderabad to here, and we reached here, and we are trying to get the body. The parents have not seen the body as well, so we are trying to, at least get the body and do the formalities as soon as possible.
All right, I have my colleagues Neha as well as Thoyajakshi who are continuously tracking this story for us, joining me live on the broadcast to get us more inputs on this. Good evening to the both of you. Neha, let me come to you first. Of course, this is a heinous act that we're talking about. But one thing to be, pointing out here is that we do understand that the victim had raised alarms about his behavior previously. But what is the family also stating? Of course, it's an extremely testing time for them. But have you managed to speak to them and get that reaction as well?
Well, yes, Nivedana, we just played out that bit where we spoke with the victim's family, and, they're distraught, to say the least. They have, in fact, very clearly gone on to say that they want justice for this victim. The fact that the company over here has completely washed its hands off this matter, despite this man barging into the company's gates and forcing this woman out of there. You have security guards of that company who've chosen to quietly watch on. So much so that when the police has approached the company to file a police complaint, the company is flatly ultimately refused, and the police was forced to take a suo motu case. Now let's talk about what happened. It's very unfortunate that this woman was stabbed almost about 17 times, is what we're understanding, just outside her premises. This accused over here, who was in fact, a jilted lover, had entered the company with 2 knives, is what we're now picking up. And despite that, there was no sort of checking that was carried out on him. Even minutes after this entire incident happened in a very busy area of Bengaluru that we brought you visuals of earlier, onlookers, passers-by, all of them just watched on in horror, and this woman, in fact, bled to death. What's worse now is that the family over here, in fact, has still not gotten to see a glimpse of this victim. It's just been about almost close to about 24 hours now. By about 6:30 yesterday evening is when this happened. And what we're also now given to understand is that the police is likely to take up a case against this company for negligence. But the bigger question that several experts too have now been raising about justice to victims in cases like these, about a total overhaul of the judicial system that's required to fast-track cases like these. But the bottom line is that, one of the busiest areas of Bengaluru witnessing such a heinous crime does go on to raise questions about how inhumane the company over here in this case is behaving, and how people too, in fact, have just watched on in horror. And it has, of course, it is something that's really sent down shockwaves across the people of the city.
Absolutely, Neha. Stay with me. I believe Thoyajakshi is also reporting on this story for us. Thoya, good evening. Of course, one aspect that Neha was pointing out in this incident, but the other aspect being we've seen several cases of jilted lovers. What the bigger question, of course, here is the psyche of such people, certain red flags in relationships. This is another talking point as well.
Well, yes, Nivedana, absolutely. I can tell you that this kind of incidents are happening frequently in the city of Bengaluru. Frequently, also, we saw that there was a boy who directly entered inside a school and stabbed a student. This was also a jilted lover, I can tell you. And this incident also, which happened yesterday, is completely, I can tell you, this is also a jilted lover. And, I can speak about it more. And I have been joined by a senior advocate with us, Miss Pramila Nesargi. Ma'am, first of all, good evening. These kind of incidents are happening very frequently in the city of Bengaluru, and women's safety is completely going on for a toss. And these kind of incidents are happening in the daylight, in middle of the road where too much of traffic and crowd is happening.
Oh, it's happening, madam. This is not the first case. Even last week also there was an incident in a college where the boy did the same thing. There also the lady was a victim. This does not mean that there is no safety for ladies at all. These are stray instances which are happening in our city. It may be in the college or it may be in some other institution. It is happening. That does not mean that there should be some mechanism whereby these can be prevented. But as on today, it depends upon the upbringing of the children at home. Many of the parents, now they leave the children to the care of the servants and they go for working. They won't have the stamina to tell them what is good and what is bad. There is no moral education in the schools and colleges. Unless previously we used to have that model. They used to say. But now I think in view of these repeated instances which are happening not only in Bangalore and all other places, I personally feel that it is high time that a subject must be introduced from the primary school, telling the children at the young age itself, telling them what is a crime, why a crime should not be committed, what are the consequences of a crime, which the children will not be aware of it. They take it as a fun. They always see the social media and they think they can also love. That's how they go ahead. They don't know what is love and what is lust and why it happens, sudden provocation. Nothing is known to the children. They are at young age. They'll be there, experiencing. That is why, when I think one of the Supreme Court judges, when they thought of his auto rickshaw driver case, when it came, he committed a murder. Then during investigation, they were asked why you did that. I saw a movie where they were doing it, so I wanted to experiment. That's how the child said. That was it. That's why. That's one thing. especially the dresses which they are showing in the pictures, movies. Say, for example, the last movie where Shah Rukh Khan's picture, where people were fighting about that dress. What does the word? After all, dress is there to cover your body. And if in your movie you show such odd dresses, it will definitely have an impact on the mind.
But we'll, of course, keep coming back to you in just a couple of minutes. I believe that we also have Shanti Swaroop from Andhra Pradesh, a caller, joining us to share her reaction on this. Shanti, good evening. Go ahead and give us your first reaction. Of course, this is a heinous crime against a woman. In fact, this really puts focus on the safety of women in general. It's not really about the workplace or in public places. The fact that this has not become utmost priority for the government as well, just irrespective of whichever state we are talking about. Your first reaction?
Hello?
Yes, Shanti, go ahead. All right, I think we also have... All right, so we'll, of course, try getting more reactions from our callers as well. But let me go across to Neha, who I believe is continuing to be with me on the broadcast as well, to get us more inputs about this. Neha, this also draws focus about the fact that this is really worrisome, that Bengaluru ranks just behind Delhi and Mumbai in the list of the most unsafe cities in the country.
गणेश फ्रेंड है हमारे साथ.
All right, I'm going to try connecting with Neha there in a couple of minutes, but I understand that Thoya continues to stay with me. Thoya, as we speak, of course, of this incident, what is extremely worrisome for a city like Bengaluru as well is that now we understand it ranks just behind cities like Delhi and Mumbai in the list of most unsafe cities in the country.
Well, yes, absolutely, Nivedana. I can tell you that Bangalore is becoming like Delhi and Mumbai for these women's safety, I can tell you, because there is no safety for women over here at all. Because today itself we saw that the company where the victim was working there, while this incident was happening yesterday evening around 6:13, between 6:30, there was no security who came and tried to even help that woman, because, you know, the office, the company where she was working, the PR of the company himself has given a statement, you know, off the record. He says, saying that we can't give safety for each and every woman.
On the fact of the what Neha, of course, pointed out in terms of the company not taking cognizance in this matter. But Neha, as you continue to stay with me, one of the other things which you pointed out in terms of course, you and Thoya speaking about the company aspect, the focus on women's safety is one aspect, even in public spaces is another. But are we equipped enough to combat such situation real time? Do we have, you know, that is, of course, another big question here when such instances happen, because people are scared sometimes. You know, when you see such instances, people don't want to go ahead and help because, you know, then there's fear of a police case that you've been involved in terms of being a witness and things like that. So what is your take on that? And what are people really, you know, also reacting to when such incidents happen in the city? Considering we were just discussing that this is worrisome for a city like Bengaluru to be ranked just behind Mumbai and Delhi in terms of being in the list of most unsafe cities in the country.
Well, absolutely right, Nivedana. You know, of course, while one aspect is the company over here, you know, absolutely not taking any responsibility for this, though it happened just outside the gate. The other aspect you raised was of how much public today, you know, really, of course, is in a position to sort of complain about an issue like this, alarm the cops probably. I'm going to take these questions, in fact, you know, straight to Surya Prakash, who happens to be a friend of the victim for a very long time now, almost about a decade. First of all, Surya, I'd like to convey my condolences to you and, you know, all your friends and family. It's very unfortunate what's happened. I want to ask you, when you view an incident like this, something you've lost someone very close to you, do you think that enough is being done for women's safety today in the country?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because see, she is an employee working in a company, and she was stabbed outside her company gate itself. It was not somewhere far. It was just stabbed outside the gate. Here, when it comes to the security for the woman, see, she's working in an MNC named Omega, and there, when she's working over there, it is company's responsibility to provide even the security for every employee, not just the woman. I say it is for every employee. It's the complete responsibility. Security are not just meant to check the pockets or check the bags when the employees are entering into the office. They are not just meant for checking for the securing the premises of the company. They are also meant for the security is also meant for giving the security to the employees who are working over there. So when there are 6 security people over there and there is a quarrel happening outside their office, and even the guy the victim who was the accused, when he was trying to enter into the company and he ran into the company behind her when she's trying to run away, he was running behind her into the office, and the security people couldn't stop him from even getting close to her. And he managed her to come out of the office and outside the office, and he stabbed her multiple times. That is 16 times she got stabbed, and 16 times she got stabbed, and 6 security people were just staring, not taking at least a basic responsibility to stop the guy. At least after one stabbing, nobody would expect that a guy would take a knife out of and would stab her outside her office. At least they could have stopped her from stabbing 16 times to death.
Now, one thing I want to ask you, we've seen the police, in fact, tells us that, there was a relationship between, the victim and the accused over here, that he was a jilted lover. From whatever you've known of her, had she received any sort of a threat in the past, or had she, at any point was she scared that this person might come back? Because this seems like something which was very planned. He's come there with the sole intention of, murdering her in a very, very gruesome manner.
Yes, here actually we had a conversation couple of months back about our relationship and about relationships and all. So then she was stating that
All
she
right,
had
Neha, I'm going
moved
to
on
come
with the
back to you in
relationship.
a couple of minutes, but I understand I have Satya from Bengaluru joining us to share with us his opinion. Satya, good evening. This is, of course, a heinous act of crime. In fact, we've seen such cases of jilted lovers increase, which is, of course, worrisome. Your first reaction about the same?
Hi, Nivagna. Thanks for patching me in. My honest condolences to the family of Leela Pavitra. I mean, Bangalore this has become very frequent in Bangalore. And I think what we are really looking is not a prescription, but a surgery of the system. Because I don't think this can continue ever and ever. I don't think Leela deserves this.
Right, Satya, I'd have to interject you for the moment, but thank you very much for joining